Hello, this is seemownay. Thank you so much for joining me for another Process Live project. No, that was completely wrong. Project Live process video. I'm skipping a couple of weeks, or more than a couple, to create more recent Project Live spreads because I am trying out my kits. I have the Coco Daisy October memory keeping pocket kit, and I'm trying to use this to create my spread. I am right now, the thought of having a kit to create spreads appeals to me again, and so that's what I'm doing. I'm looking for cards and I'm using the embellishments that come with the kit. I'm using the stickers, office stickers, and the everything that comes in the kit. The only thing that I'm also using besides the kit is stamps. Well, there are stamps in the kits usually, definitely in the Coco Daisy kits, but I find that I do not like when kits in or alpha stickers in Project Live kits do not come with numbers, which is the case for Coco Daisy. And so I am using a Feed Your Craft alpha and number stamp set. This is one of their newest releases, and I made sure to also purchase the numbers because that is a mistake that I myself made a lot, and I really need to write that and buy matching numbers for the alpha stamps that I currently own. But for this one, I made sure I purchased both. So that is what I'm going to use for my week, for numbering my week. And I might actually stick to this until the end of the year, just because it's easy and I don't have to think about what I'm going to use for it. And something that I usually don't do is stamp in color, but I really liked the green at the top of this journaling card, and I didn't really have a lot of green anywhere else. And so I thought, if I'm not going to use the stamps anywhere else on this spread than the title card, maybe using a similar color that is prevalent in the spread would help tie it in. And it totally does. And I'm going to stamp crooked, but you will see that later on. The stamp or the inks that I'm using are the archival mini ink pads from Ranger. And when I had my knee injury in the beginning of the year, I treated myself to lots of scrapbooking stuff, and that was some of the things that I purchased. I purchased the whole set, and I'm very happy I did. I really, really like those ink pads. They don't really work well on journaling pages, traveler's notebook inserts, but for these kinds of things, they are amazing. And you saw me use the packaging tape there, and I use that to stick the front and the back of the acetate that is on the stamps together, so it looks like a book cover and it opens up like a book, and that makes sure that I don't lose the backing of the stamps. I have been doing this forever. I saw someone somewhere give this as a tip, and I don't remember who that was, but it was perfect for me, and yeah, that's what I'm doing here. Now that I have stamped, I am looking through my die cuts, and this is the die cuts that I pulled from for my journaling. And when I realized that, I'm going away and grabbing this glassine bag that has all the bigger die cuts included, because I actually want to use those die cuts that you see on the right side in my journal, which is also from Coco Daisy, and so that works really well. And there is this speech bubble label thing included, and I pull that one out to add my dates for week 42. And then I'm looking through all of those die cuts, and I don't even know if this is this video where I talked about my die cuts and why they don't work for me, but I purchased these big, they are letter size containers, quite flat in comparison to other containers. And I want to use those for my die cuts because I have them in a box right now and they pile up high, and that doesn't really work. I had die cuts that I had actually purged sitting in a tray for several months, and I used those a lot because they were so accessible and they were in this kind of tray. And so I'm trying to recreate that tray feeling with this box. And so since I had it and I haven't actually filled it yet, I just decided to use this box for this month's die cuts that come in the Coco Daisy kits and that I was going to use for 2 Project Life spreads. And you should have seen the other spread that I created with the kids last week. This is the first one that I created, and then I also went ahead and created week 41. Coco Daisy has been including chipboard stickers in their memory keeping kits for a while now, and I really have a hard time using them, so I made a point of looking through them one more time and figuring out what and if I would be able to use on this spread. Now I'm closing the ink pad because, yeah, I'm definitely going to use to stick my hand in there if I don't make sure to cover it up. I'm that kind of person, yes. And before I'm going to stick down the label, I'm going to stamp. But I know for a fact that stamping out the day, the 2 dates that I want to stamp with the year won't fit on this label, and so I'm going to grab a piece of paper and just covering up the 2018, so it only says October 12 to October 21. And then I'm going to use my glue ATG gun and stick it down. And it looks kind of naked. And so later on I will take a chipboard sticker and add it there. I have a hard time using those labels, but I actually will be using one in I used one in the other spread on week 41, and it actually worked out quite nice. So maybe having them on the left side or right side of one of my photos would definitely work as a journaling spot. Have to make sure I remember that next time. So the photos are of our week. You know that I don't use staged photos. I use snapshots. I just snap along as we go, and sometimes I have more, sometimes I have less photos. This is one or 2, the top and the bottom one. 2 of my sons are there. I took on the free day that we had that week, that was October 13 actually, the boys didn't have school. And so my youngest sat upside down in this chair and read a graphic novel. And my middle one, he is the dressing boss. He wears the funniest clothes, and I actually promised him I wouldn't show this photo to anyone, but I'm glad it's so dark and you can't really see. He wore his sleep shirt and he wore knee-high socks and his boxers, and it looked so funny. So I had to snap a picture and just write that that's his style. That's so him. I am really fiddling with the die cuts here. What I notice, and I can tell you that I'm trying to figure out which kit I might want to subscribe. As I think I said it before, I really like working with kids at the moment again. And so I thought maybe I could subscribe to a kid club. And that's why I'm using the Coco Daisy kits to try and figure out if they would work for me. I'm actually getting them for a job that I do for Coco Daisy, so I will definitely use them for 1 or 2 spreads each month, but I might subscribe to another one, and I'm trying to figure out which one that will be. And if my job ever ends there, then I need to know if I want to keep on subscribing and spending the money or if it's not worth it. But right now, this spread definitely turned out nice. What I notice is that a lot of the die cuts have very themed phrases that are, so it's October stories, fall, autumn. Autumn is on almost every other die cut. There's not very many die cuts that have like this one, which is one that I don't really care for because it's in a banner shape, and you know that I don't really like banners that are just plain, so where you can add your own journaling, which is kind of a bummer because I often love the way the die cuts are designed. They are really great size for pocket pages, but if the phrases on the die cuts don't go with your photos, I don't have any use for the die cuts. So that's the downside. But I really, really loved the speech bubble ones, and I'm actually going to use both of them on this spread. I like repetition, and so that is perfect. And I absolutely love this journaling card. There is a stamp in the kit with this, and I have to use it in my traveler's notebook somewhere. So I'm just going through and I'm adding words and die cuts and embellishments where I want to have them. So you can't really see what is going on there, but there was police training going on right behind our house in the next it's not quarter, what is it? Next block. And so I just had to take a photo because they probably did police training for a month. And there is houses that are going to be torn down, and they broke the windows, they had cars that they destroyed. There was lots of action going on every time I drove by, and so one day I just had to snap a photo and to document it in my project life. The bottom left photo is a photo of my husband taking part in his very first trail running half marathon, and he finished, and I'm so proud of him. And I think it's October or fall, something with the great outdoors, I think the banner says, and then this phrase says successful, which he was. And you can't see it on here, but you will see it on the close-ups. I am going to add a label underneath because I thought I would forget what that was. And then I'm just pulling out a label from my labels box and adding it later on. I'm journaling on this Stay Clever card that my son loves reading. Here are some close-ups of the spread, and there is the finished spread. I really love how this turned out. Thank you so much for watching. There are some more Project Life Process videos on screen right now. And tell me what kits you are subscribed to. Do you get use out of them? How many spreads do you usually get out of your kits? That I would really love to know. Thank you so much. I will see you next time. Until then, bye.